Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here today. We're taking a look at OKB, which is a request from one of my community members. Thank you so much to Teresa for requesting that I cover this. You were one of my patrons. Thank you very much. If you're not already a patron, consider subscribing, of course. I actually have a trading community where we all learn and grow together. I send out signals for every single trade that I take. Now, what we're looking at here, of course, is technical analysis. We're going to jump into Bitcoin first before we jump into the altcoin of choice, based on the simple fact that any good trader must know what Bitcoin is doing at all times, based on the simple fact it's like the catalyst from price movement for everything, right? So let's just keep that in mind and jumping in here. First of all, something to note, we are breaking into the resistance zone here. In other words, the previous all-time high, in other words, where the one-day candlestick closed, as well as the actual high itself for Bitcoin. We're right in the middle of that channel right now. It's kind of testing that here today. So, all in all, we don't know what's going to happen yet, but with the one-day candlestick closes above one of these two, then there's a good chance it'll probably stay within that resistance zone and likely break to the upside eventually. Now, we'll definitely find out here soon what happens, but for right now, Bitcoin is in pretty good shape all in all. I do think that we're going to see a continuation to the upside, especially if we can break this and close above. It's going to be a pretty big deal, just based on all the actual ETFs coming around too for Bitcoin. There's a lot of positivity in the market, so Bitcoin's doing very well right now. Okay, simply put. Moving on to OKB, let's take a look here, of course, at its history, see kind of what's going on. It has a tendency of ramping up pretty hard. And as we can see, anytime it's ramped up, it's done so for a few days in a row. There's a good chance we might see a continuation. Let's go ahead and find out. So we're above both moving averages now, which is awesome. That's a very good sign. I like that we're up above 50 and the 200. Price is above 50 and under 70 on the RSI as well, so there's more room for growth. It's not considered to be overbought yet, which is awesome. And we did have a convergence on the MACD roughly yesterday, which kind of signaled the fact that we're going to see a breakout. So just go ahead and loosely mark that on the chart and kind of go from there. All right. Now moving on to the 4-hour chart, let's go ahead and see what's going on here as well. Very similar scenario. We're above both moving averages, which is excellent. We did have a convergence on the MACD yesterday at 1 a.m. So let's get a little more specific with that. Let's go ahead and move this guy here. That is approximately where the 4-hour chart told us we have a convergence on the MACD. Now, if you're new to the channel, just in general, the 4-hour chart, MACD convergence is probably the most effective time frame and indicator you could use. And the main reason why is because when you see the shift here, see these red lines, that's basically telling us there's more bearish volume than bullish volume in that time frame. And when that shift occurs, we have basically the 12 intersecting with a 26 in an upward fashion. That's the exponential moving average. That essentially just shifts the momentum. It's like a paradigm shift from bearish to bullish, for lack of better terms. And that is a good sign for anyone that's looking to do any type of swing trading. Obviously, as a day trader, I look at that myself as well. But for swing trades, it's even better because it just kind of gives you a better perspective, specifically on the 4-hour chart. The one-day chart's effective. It's just there's a lot of time in that one candlestick. Whereas the 4-hour chart, you can get a little bit more effective MACD convergence and divergence as well if you're shorting. Okay. So all in all, looking very good here for OKB. And again, it has a tendency of shooting up very hard, but also bear in mind too, it does sell off pretty hard as well. But these sell-offs here are major sell-off dates for Bitcoin, right? September 7th, that was the one of the very first, more recent issues with El Salvador there, with the price sold off. We had the second significant retracement as well. So all in all, this is pretty much following Bitcoin to a T. However, keep this in mind. If you look at the price movement, I mean, it moves up super hard, super fast. Like May 1st was a big day, but as we can tell, it's receptive to sell-offs, right? So May 12th was kind of the first point where it kind of got jarred there. Then we look at May 19th. That is a huge, huge sell-off for OKB. So what I'm getting at here is it increases very well. I would say 2, 3, even 4x compared to what Bitcoin can do, right? However, it can sell off that hard as well. So professional recommendation here, just being in the industry for a long time. Again, not a financial advisor, but I've been trading for over 15 years. Move your stop loss up as you take profit or as you enter your take profit targets, even as you start moving past support and resistance levels. Okay, so let's go ahead and start marking some of those as a matter of fact. Let's go ahead and take a look here. And let's go ahead and mark this one's pretty obvious one. We've got a resistance at about 24.38. We got a nice strong support down here at roughly about 12.90. Okay, so in this channel right here, essentially, what's cool right now is it does look like it broke past a resistance here, which is good. That is the new support. So we can see right now the support level is effectively right around $18.95. You could round up and say $19 is a pretty even number for a considerable support level right now. And again, I'm not just pulling these out of hats, right? There was about 7 or 8 times in a row where this resistance level would not let the price pass, and now it just broke through and closed above on the one-day chart specifically. That's a very, very good sign. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 1 hour chart here and just kind of see where we're at with the Ichimoku cloud and see if there's a correlation between that and the price breakout here. So just to kind of clarify here, if you're new to the channel or just the cloud in general, right? It's Ichimoku cloud. It's referred to as one of the better indicators in the industry, but just know if you enable it, you're going to see a big mess based on the fact that it has a lot of different indications within it. So just to deselect the first 5, then you get the plots background here. And the bottom line here is when the price breaks above, it's considered a buy signal. If it breaks below, it's considered a sell signal. Okay, now it's not always foolproof, right? Because in states of consolidation, it can break above and below all the time. But when there's a breakout, especially one that's marked on a 4 hour chart for the MACD convergence, then we have a firm indication of the fact that the price will increase shortly after. So right here, the MACD was telling us within this 4 hour time frame that, hey, the price is shifting from bearish to bullish, right? The momentum. Okay, had you taken entry right here, you would be in a pretty good position to have effectively taken advantage of this increase here. So just say hypothetically you just used only that one indication, you'd be up 20% on your position based on the MACD and the Ichimoku cloud alone. Okay, so I always try to teach this to my patrons and kind of help educate on how to use it effectively because there's obviously different ways. It's not, again, foolproof, but it is pretty darn likely that when you see these two things happen together, I refer to it as a double rainbow. It's like two really awesome things concurring at once. It goes in, almost always goes to the upward side, right? Keep this in mind. Bitcoin's movement here today helps a lot, right? The fact that it's bullish is extremely helpful. If we were in a bearish market right now, it'd be a different story. Okay, so that's why we look at Bitcoin first. That's why any good trader will look at that, because of the fact that you need to understand how they influence one another, and understanding that correlation between coins is extremely important. Don't just kind of jump in and jump out as you see fit. Always look at Bitcoin first. Okay, now moving on to, see here, let's take a quick look at TD sequential. We're probably near the top or reset here. Yeah, so this is something really cool to understand. First of all, TD sequential is a really good indication of a buy signal, or more so, giving you an indication of the fact that you should or shouldn't buy. In other words, it tells us a lot about market exhaustion. So for lack of better terms right now, if we see the 1 starting there, that's basically the first candlestick. What that is, that's taking the 4th previous candlestick and counting it higher or lower. That's all it's doing. So this candlestick's higher than the 4th previous, etc. And as it gets up to a 9, you hit a reset. In other words, once it hits a 9, that's considered to be exhausted, and that we need to have a state of consolidation or retracement afterwards to kind of correct that behavior. That being said, the price closed right above this major resistance level, creating a support level. That allows this continuation to hold at support and likely leg up again soon. So I'm speculating that OKV will go on another jump up here in the near future. Again, depending on how Bitcoin performs the next 24 to 48 hours, right? That's why we look at Bitcoin first, because it's very reliant on Bitcoin, right? So we know that. And if Bitcoin sells off to 55,000 tomorrow, I think we're going to see a significant decrease here, right? But if Bitcoin can close above 64,000, for example, on the one-day chart, then this support level here for CKB will hold, right? That's kind of what I'm trying to get at. Therefore, why don't we go and take a look at the big picture and see what kind of potential we have. So to get to its all-time high, right? Let's go ahead and mark that as well. Keep in mind, the all-time high is one thing. Yes, you can use that future reference, right? That's relevant. But I'm marking the all-time high that closed on the one-day candlestick, right? So that's the more relevant resistance level for now, because that usually runs concurrent with the Fibonacci retracement. If we look at $38 as a close approximate, just say 38.05, and the price action is down around 19, it can be safe to presume that this coin has a tendency or the potential to basically 2x itself, right? We can almost get it double your investment. So just keep that in mind. There's a strong chance we're going to see that. Now in this little run here, keep in mind we need to see a state of consolidation. There's a good chance that, just say for example, we take a look here at Fibonacci, we're going to see the price kind of level out right here, okay? In other words, we shouldn't see the price go much higher than $2.27 in the next week or two. Bear in mind, still has great potential later, but there's going to be a case in point where this hits that that top, so to speak, and it needs to kind of calm down and get some consolidation. So I would like to see the price go sideways for a couple of days and then leg up again to hit this or to break through this resistance level of 24.45. And I think that's very likely though. So OKB definitely has some great potential. I just think that within the next week or two, we might see it get upwards of about, say, 20 to 25. And then a month or two later, there's a strong likelihood of Bitcoin can keep pushing towards just say 100,000 as it's predicted to do in the next couple of months. Then yeah, we'll probably see a $40 increase in price, or the price get to the $40 range by year end here. Okay, again, because we've seen this here. We've identified the fact that it does very well when Bitcoin does well, does poorly when Bitcoin does poorly. So as long as we don't get a lot of major sell-offs from Bitcoin and we just have a nice continuation like we've been seeing, then I think OKB will continue to the upside, but we do need to see a period of consolidation here for a day or two just to ensure that next leg up doesn't get up too fast and we see a retracement shortly after. So if you find benefit here, like and subscribe. Please consider joining my Patreon community as well. I have a great group of folks there trying to build the community, and I can tell you it's actually getting pretty big pretty fast. And I do average about 85% success rate with all of my trades. So happy to have you along there. Check that out in your own time. I have a descriptive video and the link in the description below. Also, have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining me here today. And thanks again to my patrons. I appreciate you all. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a good one. Bye-bye.